to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where gentle words and tranquil imagery guide you toward the soothing embrace of rest. Settle in and let your breathing slow until it matches the soft, lulling rhythm of a calm sea under moonlight. Allow any stray worries or lingering thoughts to drift to the edges of your mind, like delicate clouds at the horizon of your awareness. In this moment, you are safe and peaceful, prepared to journey into a realm of natural wonder. Tonight's story will transport you to the rain-kissed forests of Vancouver Island, a lush paradise in the Pacific Northwest, where ferns unfurl their emerald fronds beneath age-old trees, and the steady tap of raindrops hums a lullaby of the wild. As you settle deeper into relaxation, picture the gentle haze of early morning mist drifting in the space just beyond your closed eyelids, bringing with it the cool scent of wet cedar and the comforting quiet of a hidden woodland hollow. With every soft inhale, imagine you're pulling in the fresh, leafy fragrance of damp forest air, and with each exhale, release any tension from your shoulders, your chest, and your mind. Let the world grow hushed around you, as if you're descending into the twilight of your own thoughts, content and unhurried, ready for a simple, soothing adventure. A solitary figure, let us call them the traveler, arrives on Vancouver Island by ferry, stepping gently onto the island's damp soil. The early morning light here is filtered through thick clouds that promise a gentle rainfall later in the day. The air tastes faintly of salt and evergreen needles, a heady mix that evokes both coastal breezes and forest depths. Dewdrops cling to slender grasses along the shoreline, and a soft breeze stirs them so they sway in a silent dance of silver and green. There is a hush in this place, as if the entire island holds its breath in reverence of the ancient cedar groves and the moss-laden forest floors that lie just beyond the narrow strip of beach. Gulls circle overhead, their calls muted by the drifting fog, and the traveler can feel the promise of serenity that the forest offers, a beckoning invitation whispered through spruce branches. Without rush, the traveler walks along a footpath that winds inland, gravel crunching softly underfoot. The path eventually transforms into a soft bed of pine needles, and with each step, the traveler's boots press gently into the cushion of mulch that has formed through countless seasons of fallen needles, leaves, and petals. The high canopy overhead sways ever so slightly with the breeze, revealing glimmers of muted daylight that flicker across glossy salal bushes. Now and then a hush falls, broken only by the chirp of a hidden songbird or the distant cry of a raven. The traveler senses the depth of nature song here, slow and measured, a melody composed of gentle rain, ancient wood, and the fertile hush of soil. Moisture in the air clings to every needle and leaf, forming translucent beads that magnify the forest's deep green hues. The traveler notices long strands of lichen draping from branches like tattered lace, and the quiet drip, drip, drip of water from one mossy ledge to another. The scent is unmistakable, the peppery tang of cedar bark mingled with the faint sweetness of damp earth. Now and then, the traveler pauses to listen. There is a hush so profound, it wraps around the senses like a soft blanket. A hush woven with the fabric of rainstorms that have nourished this land for centuries. Farther along, the path meanders alongside a gentle creek. Clear water tumbles over smooth stones, creating a delicate chorus of splashes that mingle with the sound of wind sifting through branches high above. The traveler rests on a fallen log for a moment, letting the hush and rhythm of this woodland seep into every corner of awareness. Ferns spread wide like emerald fans, illuminated by the faint sunlight that filters through the canopy, while maidenhair moss clings to rotting logs in vivid patches. Up in the branches of an old cedar, a curious squirrel peers down, whiskers twitching, as though assessing this newcomer to its realm. The traveler, content simply to behold, feels no need to stir from that spot immediately. Instead, there is a silent understanding, human and forest, each mindful of the other. Eventually, the traveler rises and continues deeper along the path, which now slopes gently upward. The canopy thickens, and tree trunks become massive sentinels that stretch upward until they vanish from sight. In this part of the forest, cedar trunks can be wider than a person's outstretched arms. Some have hollows at their base, dark archways that suggest hidden worlds beneath the bark. A quiet drizzle begins, almost imperceptible at first, more of a mist than a rain, but it layers the surrounding foliage in a glossy sheen. The traveler welcomes the moisture, feels it settling over jacket and hair, and notices how the faint patter on the leaves soon becomes a soft, rhythmic lullaby. Each step sinks more deeply into the mossy earth as the path leads through thick ferns and tangles of salal. Drops of water slip from leaf to leaf, creating a murmuring chain that seems to echo the gentle heartbeat of the forest. The traveler passes a cluster of nurse logs, fallen trunks that have, over many seasons, become fertile ground for new saplings. Tiny hemlocks and cedars sprout from the decaying wood, forming a living tapestry that speaks to renewal, to the undying cycle of life resting in every patch of greenery. Pausing to rest a hand on the rough bark of one towering cedar, the traveler senses an ancient pulse thrumming in these living giants, as though time itself has slowed within this realm of softly falling rain. Beyond the dense grove, the forest floor opens into a small meadow where the traveler can see the sky's palette of silvery clouds drifting overhead. Here, the drizzle abates for a moment, allowing a touch of brighter light to filter down. Tucked in the meadow's corners, clusters of wild flowers nod in the gentle breeze, their petals, beaded with raindrops, shimmer like tiny crystals in the dim light. It is quiet, but not silent. The wind across tall grasses creates a subtle hush, punctuated by the distant rush of a hidden waterfall. The traveler allows a contented breath, savoring the contrast of open space against the thick canopy left behind. A meandering trail beckons the traveler onward, weaving back into the hush of towering firs and spruces. The ground here is layered with fallen needles that create a tapestry of warm browns and soft oranges, blanketed with the lighter strands of lichen that have dropped from overhead. Shafts of filtered daylight reveal swirling motes of moisture in the air, and with the next shift of breeze, the traveler catches a faint fragrance of the nearby Pacific Ocean. It merges with the smell of wood and moss, an aromatic fusion of salt, bark, and subtle brine. From far off, the low moan of a foghorn echoes across the coastline, weaving into the backdrop of the forest's own hushed choir. Gradually, the forest seems to thin, and the sound of waves grows clearer. The traveler glimpses the subdued glimmer of water through the trunks. With steps slow and deliberate, they make their way toward a stony shore that lies where the forest meets the sea. Small, smooth pebbles crunch underfoot, and to the left, a gentle slope leads down to tidal pools glistening in the dim daylight. The traveler watches as gulls wheel above the surf, their wings outstretched in easy arcs, occasionally dipping down to inspect the water's surface. In the pools, clusters of sea anemones cling to the rocks, bright green in color, their tentacles swaying with the tide. Little hermit crabs scuttle by, searching for morsels and marvels among the barnacle-studded stones. A soft drizzle picks up again, faint enough to be a caress rather than a downpour, and the traveler feels the ocean breeze thread through damp hair. The salty tang of sea spray mingles with the watery hush of the waves, lapping gently at the shore. There is a sense of timelessness here. The forest, watching the waves caressing the stones, and the traveler standing at the threshold between land and sea, heart aligned with the earth's slow, unhurried pulse. Above, the blanket of clouds hovers, a silver tapestry gently tracing the horizon, while gulls and maybe a solitary eagle drift in lazy circles. After lingering on the stony shore for a while, the traveler notices a sandy edge nearby, where driftwood has washed up in smooth, pale trunks. The traveler walks along this softer stretch, letting footprints press into the damp sand. The gentle hush of water over the shoreline calls to mind the cyclical lullaby that life here follows. Ebb and flow, quiet and motion. With each wave, a memory of ancient tides resurfaces, as though the ocean has whispered stories into the ear of the beach countless times before. The traveler picks a spot near a tall piece of driftwood, sets down a small pack, and settles against the curved surface of bleached bark. This is a moment made for contemplation and ease, for letting the body unwind in harmony with nature's own fluid grace. Time drifts. The raindrops continue their soft patter, the waves their gentle surge and retreat. Overhead, a crow caws, and the traveler lifts weary eyes to see it perched on a branch that stretches out from the forest's edge as though it is a sentinel of the shoreline. The traveler's breathing slows, matching the pulse of the rhythmic tide. Each inhalation tastes of the sea's brine, and each exhalation unspools tension into the breeze. Tiny details come into focus. A grain of sand clinging to a fingertip, the swirl of foam along a wave's crest, the flicker of distant gulls glimpsed between forest branches. The sky remains subdued in color, a palette of soft dove gray, matching perfectly the hush in the traveler's mind. And so the traveler dozes for a time, lulled by the soft tapestry of forest and sea. When at last the traveler stirs, a subtle shift in the atmosphere signals that dusk is not far off. The drizzle has waned to a barely perceptible mist that highlights each needle, each blade of grass, with a gentle sheen. The sounds of the forest have taken on a softer tone. Birds calling less frequently, the wind rustling the branches in a whisper, as if preparing for evening's arrival. With unhurried care, the traveler stands and walks back toward the canopy, drawn by the promise of deeper shelter under the ancient boughs. Shadows lengthen between the trunks, and the forest path acquires an otherworldly calm. The traveler notices a small clearing just beyond the slope, and in its center stands a stone ring, perhaps the remnants of an old campsite or a gathering place. Here, soft moss has begun to creep over the rocks, giving them a plush covering of emerald and jade. The traveler feels welcomed by this hidden alcove where the forest's hush deepens to a comforting stillness. Cedar boughs overhead brush gently against each other with the wind, as though conversing in low melodic tones. A short distance away from the clearing flows a tiny stream, weaving its way over smooth stones and vanishing into ferns further downhill. The traveler kneels beside the water, cupping hands to gather a small sip. The water is crisp and cold, carrying the essence of melted snow from distant peaks, an unspoken gift of purity that the forest shares. Somewhere in the distance, the resonant call of an owl heralds the onset of twilight. The traveler feels no fear, only a profound sense of belonging, as though gently woven into the tapestry of life that pulses around them. Night begins to lower its soft curtain. Through the canopy's intricate pattern, the sky fades into slate gray with the faintest glow hinting at a hidden moon. The traveler steps carefully among twisted roots, heading back to the meadow glimpsed earlier where the horizon might be more open. At the forest's edge, an expansive view of the evening sky greets them. Clouds stretched thin, revealing faint patterns of moonlight shimmering through. Cool air brushes the traveler's face, carrying with it the scent of night-blooming plants and damp cedar. In that meadow's center, a circle of stones nestles in the grasses, possibly placed there by others who wandered this way before. The traveler senses an atmosphere of calm abiding in this spot, a quiet place to rest for the night, to sink into the rhythmic heartbeat of the island. Sitting on one of the stones, the traveler allows the quiet to settle, letting muscles unwind, letting each breath expand in the chest, then exit in a gentle sigh. This is a realm of hush, of low wind in tall grasses, of tree frogs beginning to sing their nocturnal chorus somewhere near the creek. Softly, the moon grows clearer, revealing itself as a tranquil orb behind drifting clouds. The traveler looks to the tree line where the silhouettes of ancient cedars stand watch like gentle giants. Beyond them, the hush of the coastline faintly resonates, a continuous interplay of waves and wind. For a moment, the traveler envisions the entire cycle, the rainfall that filters through forest canopies, the streams that flow into creeks, the water that meets the sea, and the clouds that form again to bring rain back to the land. It is a melody of unbroken balance, an enduring lullaby of nature, and the traveler feels grateful to bear witness. Now, as the traveler settles against the moss, the story softens even further. The forest cradles them in quiet arms, branches overhead whispering secrets of starry skies. The grasses shift in gentle waves, brushing against the traveler's legs. Every note of the night soundtrack, frog calls, the hush of wind, the occasional patter of residual raindrops, blends into a single harmonious hush. It is as if the traveler's heart echoes that hush, slowing to match the easy rhythm of the night. Time drifts again, and the traveler closes tired eyes for a moment, lulled by the softness of it all. Night deepens in the forest. Clouds glide and part, revealing glimmers of starlight. In some hidden recess of the woods, a gentle, melodic wind sighs through moss-laden branches. The drizzle is gone now, leaving only the freshness of wet bark in the air, a lingering testament to the day's cleansing showers. The canopy overhead is thick. The patches of open sky showcase faint stars. Within this calm, the traveler dreams or floats in the half-realm of near sleep, peaceful, unburdened, and content to simply be. The forest's living hush encircles them, a lullaby in the form of rustling leaves and distant tides. Gradually, the night yields to the idea of deeper rest, an invitation extended to all creatures under its quiet domain. The traveler's breathing becomes so gentle it is hardly audible above the murmur of the forest. With each inhalation, a subtle expansion of the chest. With each exhalation, tension dissolves like mist in the dawn. Though the traveler may sense fleeting dream-like visions or hear soft echoes of coyote calls in the distance, nothing disturbs this safe and peaceful slumber. The gentle hum of existence, at times almost imperceptible, cradles the traveler. And now, you find yourself also drifting along these hushed pathways, lulled by the tranquil forest and the rhythmic patter of rain that once fell upon wide cedar boughs. Gradually, your own awareness settles like a leaf floating upon still water, turning inward to rest in a pool of quiet. Thoughts release their hold on you, slipping away until they are as distant as the forest's gentle boundaries. Here in this threshold between waking and dream, you melt into softness, guided by the soothing hush of Vancouver Island's rain-kissed forest. Let the final traces of tension slip away from your shoulders, flowing gently down your arms, through your fingertips, and into the earth below. Feel your breath growing even softer, like a whisper carried on a faint breeze. Each exhale drawing you closer to a realm of deep rest. The story of the traveler, sheltered by rain-laden branches and softened by the hush of the waves, has become your own story now, a graceful invitation to peace and repose. Here in the gentle hush of the night, there is no pressure, no urgency, only the warm cradle of slumber waiting to embrace you. Imagine the moss as a plush cushion beneath your body, the faint scent of cedar floating around you like a calming perfume, and the distant roll of the tide echoing in your quiet mind. Each heartbeat steadies. Each breath becomes a lullaby in itself. You are safe. You are at peace. You are home in this world of rustling leaves and softly lapping waves. And so, dear traveler in spirit, allow your consciousness to soften and drift. You've wandered through the rain-kissed forest, felt the damp embrace of soft cedar branches, listened to the gentle hush of the sea. And now, you're wrapped in the hush of night. Let these images slip gently into your dreams, carrying you far from any concerns or demands, replacing them with the quiet pulse of the old-growth forest, the soothing sound of raindrops on leaves, and the timeless lull of ocean waves. Close your eyes and drift into the velvety darkness. Good night, dear traveler. Sleep well.